The story begins with an inmate named Ray Bradstone talking to a woman on the phone. While he's on the call, another inmate walks over and starts giving him a hard time. At first, Ray tries to ignore him, but when the guy refuses to back off, Ray throws a hard punch right across his face and sends him walking away. A few days later, Ray is released from prison. After serving 7 years, he returns every book he had been reading behind bars to the prison warden before leaving. Once Ray walks out of the prison and makes it a short distance down the road, a man named Philip pulls up beside him in an expensive car and asks him to help rob a bank. It turns out Ray used to be Philip's partner back in the day. Some doors open to freedom, others lead straight back into the past. Philip keeps trying to convince Ray to join the robbery, but Ray doesn't say much. He simply keeps walking as Philip follows alongside him, refusing to give up. The temptation is real, but Ray's silence says far more than words. After listening for a while, Ray finally stops walking and asks Philip if he can drive the car. Philip immediately assumes Ray has changed his mind and agreed to the job. He gets out of the driver's seat without hesitation. One unexpected decision changes everything before anyone even sees it coming. But the moment Philip steps out, Ray leaves him standing there, drives off in the car, heads home, and quietly looks at a photograph of his wife and daughter. Ray is excited because the next day he'll finally get to see his family. During his long 7 years in prison, he made up his mind that he was going to become a better man and leave his old life behind. The next day, Ray goes to see his wife, Lynn, and his daughter, Sally. But after all those years, Lynn isn't happy to see him. Instead, she tells Ray she doesn't want to be with him anymore because she believes he's irresponsible and can't be trusted. As far as she's concerned, he's never truly lived up to the responsibilities of being a husband or a father. Some mistakes leave scars that even years behind bars can't erase. While they're talking, Sally comes home from school. Just like her mother, she barely says a word to Ray. Moments later, Lynn and Sally walk back inside the house and shut the front door right in his face. The next day, Ray goes to Sally's school and apologizes, telling her he's not the same man he used to be and that he's going to prove he's changed. But Sally is still upset with him and quietly walks away. Earning forgiveness is always harder than asking for another chance. Just then, Ray hears the sound of firecrackers going off somewhere on the school grounds. He heads toward the noise and finds a group of boys fighting. Ray breaks up the fight and sends them to the principal's office. That's where he meets Sally's teacher, Miss Miller, and the two introduce themselves. Sometimes the smallest meeting quietly becomes the start of everything that follows. Impressed by Ray's sincere attitude and the way he carries himself, Miss Miller asks if he'd be willing to help supervise the students during a museum field trip the following week. Ray agrees right away because he sees it as a good opportunity to reconnect with Sally. Later that evening, Philip shows up at Ray's place and once again asks him to join the crew for another bank robbery. But just like before, Ray refuses, reminding Philip that his betrayal is the reason he spent 7 years behind bars. The past refuses to stay buried, no matter how badly Ray wants it to. The next day, Ray goes back to Lynn's house to try convincing her one more time. This time, he comes face to face with Lynn's new husband. Right in front of Ray, Lynn and her new husband kiss, leaving Ray furious inside, even though he says nothing. After the new husband leaves, Ray tells Lynn he's completely changed, that he's no longer the man he used to be, and that he'll take good care of both her and Sally. Changing your life means nothing if no one believes you've changed. Lynn reminds him that he doesn't even have a job and asks how he plans to support a family. That's when Ray realizes money is the real issue. He starts applying for jobs and goes to interview after interview, but because of his criminal record, every company turns him down. His sentence may be over, but the punishment still follows him everywhere. One day, as Ray returns to his apartment, he discovers the building has caught fire and everything he owns has been reduced to ashes. With nowhere else to turn, he finally agrees to join Philip's crew for the bank robbery. A few days later, Ray, Philip, and 2 other members of the crew drive toward the bank. After they arrive, Philip and the others pull on their masks and enter the bank through the back entrance. Ray is told to stay in the car and wait for them to come back. One unexpected moment forces Ray to choose between his future and his past. While he's sitting there, Ray suddenly notices Sally and the rest of her classmates getting onto a school bus for the museum field trip. As he watches his daughter, memories of the happy moments they once shared come rushing back. In that instant, Ray realizes what he's about to do is completely wrong and that he can't go through with it. The life he almost lost suddenly becomes more valuable than easy money. Ray gets out of the car, throws the car keys into a nearby patch of bushes, boards the student's bus, and tells Miss Miller that he's ready to help keep the children safe. For the first time in years, Ray finally chooses the right path. Sally is furious when she sees her dad, Ray, on the bus and tells him to get off. But Ray believes that if he leaves now, he'll lose his daughter forever, so he ignores her and stays where he is. Meanwhile, Philip and the rest of the crew return to the getaway car after robbing the bank, only to discover that Ray is gone gone, and the car keys have disappeared. Afraid of getting caught by the police, they split up and run. While fleeing, a robber named Dale is hit by a bus, and the duffel bag full of cash falls onto the street. One choice turns a clean getaway into complete chaos within seconds. Terrified of being arrested, Dale abandons the bag and keeps running, but police officers quickly catch him and take him into custody. At the same time, Philip and his partner, Goldie, steal another car and drive off. That's when they spot Ray sitting on the school bus. Furious that he double-crossed them, they chase the bus, but they accidentally crash into a truck, allowing the school bus to get away. Some betrayals burn far deeper than losing money ever could. Before losing sight of it, Philip notices the name of the school printed on the side of the bus. He calls the school and manages to find out exactly where the class field trip is headed. Meanwhile, when Dale regains consciousness, he finds himself in a hospital room where two detectives question him about the bank robbery. The truth slowly begins catching everyone faster than anyone can escape. After questioning Dale, the detectives learn that the bag of cash is on a school bus that had been parked near the bank during the robbery. Meanwhile, Ray arrives at the museum with all the students. Once they're inside, everyone learns that the tour guide called out sick and won't be able to lead the visit. Ray doesn't want Sally or the other kids to be disappointed, so he volunteers to guide the tour himself. During his years in prison, he spent countless hours reading books about museums and animals, giving him more than enough knowledge to take over. Sometimes, the lessons learned behind bars become unexpectedly valuable outside them. While talking with the students, Ray suddenly spots Philip and Goldie inside the museum. He immediately tells all the students to head back to the school bus, then pulls the fire alarm so every visitor evacuates the building. Once the museum is empty, Ray confronts Philip and Goldie in the restroom, where a brutal fight breaks out. When Philip demands to know why Ray betrayed them, Ray tells him he changed his mind and has no intention of ever committing another crime. The man standing here is no longer the one Philip once knew. Afterward, Ray takes the students to the next stop on their field trip. Once everyone gets off the bus, he opens the luggage compartment underneath and discovers the duffel bag filled with cash. The missing money has been hiding much closer than anyone ever imagined. Ray immediately calls Philip, hoping to return the bag and put an end to everything. But just as Ray starts crossing the street to hand it over, police officers suddenly arrive, forcing Philip and Goldie to flee. Now convinced that Ray tipped off the police, the two decide to ask a Mexican mafia gang for help tracking him down. Meanwhile, Ray takes the students to a hotel where the class is scheduled to spend the night. Trust completely disappears once betrayal becomes the only thing left to believe. Miss Miller tells all the students to head to their assigned rooms. Ray carries the duffel bag full of cash into his room and calls Philip again, telling him they can come to the hotel, collect the money, and end this whole situation. But Philip no longer trusts Ray and believes he'll double-cross them again, so he insists that Ray bring the money somewhere safer instead. Every conversation pushes both sides one step closer to an unavoidable confrontation. While Ray is still on the phone, Sally walks into the room and apologizes for the way she treated him. Father and daughter finally share an honest conversation after so many years apart. A little later, Ray takes Miss Miller out to dinner, and over a meal at a restaurant, the two finally clear the air between them. For the first time, hope quietly begins replacing years of pain and regret. Meanwhile, a couple of detectives arrive at the hotel and ask Miss Miller where they can find Ray. They also tell her that the police believe Ray may have been involved in the recent bank robbery. Hearing that leaves Miss Miller shaken. At the same time, Ray is walking back to the hotel with Sally. He tells her she should spend more time with her friends, especially Josh, because he likes her. Sally returns to the hotel happy after finally spending quality time with her dad, but then she sees a news report on TV identifying Ray as a suspect in the bank robbery. One heartbreaking headline destroys the trust they had just begun rebuilding. Heartbroken and furious, Sally confronts Ray and tells him she made a huge mistake by trusting him again. Desperate not to lose his daughter, Ray tells her the whole truth, and her anger begins to ease. Just then, Ray notices detectives searching the hotel for him. He quickly tells Sally to go to his hotel room, bring him the duffel bag full of cash, and hurry back. Sometimes, the only way to earn trust is by telling the complete truth. As soon as Sally hands him the bag, Ray tells her to return to the hotel and stay with her friends. He then takes the bag and heads to the location Philip told him to meet. Ray walks away, knowing everything now depends on one final decision. As soon as Sally walks back into the hotel, Philip and Goldie kidnap her. Meanwhile, Ray arrives at the location Philip gave him, but instead of finding Philip, he comes face to face with 3 members of a Mexican mafia gang. Furious, Ray quickly takes all 3 of them down. Right then, Philip calls and tells Ray they've kidnapped his daughter. Hearing that sends Ray into a rage. He warns Philip that if Sally is hurt in any way, he'll make them pay with their lives. But Philip isn't intimidated. excited and orders Ray to come to a secret location with the money in exchange for Sally. Nothing is more dangerous than a father with nothing left to lose. Ray takes a taxi to the meeting place. After arriving, he quietly gives the cab driver some cash and tells him that the moment Sally gets into the cab, he should drive away immediately. The plan works, and Sally manages to escape. But after she gets back to the hotel, she realizes her father is still in danger. Saving herself is no longer enough while Ray remains trapped behind. Determined to save him, Sally asks her friends Josh, Simon, and Benny to help rescue her dad. The rescue mission begins with 4 kids refusing to back down. Josh tracks Ray's location using his iPad, while Benny sets off fireworks to distract the detectives, allowing all 4 kids to slip away from the hotel unnoticed. Meanwhile, Philip and Goldie tie Ray to a chair after discovering that the duffel bag he handed them is filled with dolls instead of cash. Philip beats Ray and demands to know where the real money is, but Ray refuses to tell him anything. Ray refuses to surrender, even when every second turns more painful. A short time later, Sally and her friends arrive at the hideout. Simon and Benny set off more fireworks to distract Philip and Goldie, while Sally and Josh untie Ray. The moment he's free, Ray calls someone he knows who works at a radio station. The man broadcasts Ray's live location over the air, revealing Philip and Goldie's hideout to everyone listening. One live broadcast suddenly changes the direction of the entire chase. After hearing the announcement, Lynn and the police rush to the location, but before they can step in, Philip and Goldie hold Ray and the kids at gunpoint. What Philip doesn't realize is that every word he's saying is being recorded. The criminals unknowingly begin exposing themselves with every word they speak. Philip openly admits that Ray had nothing to do with the bank robbery and says they only wanted to use him as part of their plan. Just as Philip is about to shoot everyone, the police storm in and arrest both criminals. The truth finally comes out before another innocent life is lost forever. Ray is officially cleared because during the bank robbery, he was on the school bus with the students. Lynn rushes over and feels relieved to see Sally safe, but she slaps Ray for putting all the children in danger. Ray doesn't react. He simply tells her that he's finally become a good man. Real redemption is proven through actions, not promises or empty words. In the movie's final scene, Ray is working at a radio station when he gets a call from Philip, who's asking for advice on adjusting to life in prison. Ray tells him that if he wants a peaceful life behind bars, he'll have to stand up to the other inmates, always stay honest, and sleep with his back against the wall. And with that, the story comes to an end. Some lessons can only be understood after paying the highest possible price. Some people escape the nightmare, but the nightmare never truly leaves them. If stories like this stay with you long after they're over, subscribe to KTS Mosan, because some scars don't fade, they simply learn how to stay silent.